time, and after all the dramas of last season, the ups and downs, who will stay, who will go, who will play a lot of the time, was all the drama, the injuries, the sagas, the managers, the goalkeeper changes. Tottenham fans had a break. They had a rest, so they thought. But Roberto De Zerbi has come in and said, I am making the changes. These changes need to happen. And the money has been spent as well. Very pleased to say that we have the thoughts of Chris Cowlin from the Spurs Chat Podcast.
Now, change was certainly needed at Tottenham Hotspur and expected because, of course, we were so close to being relegated on the final day of the season. And thankfully, West Ham went down and Spurs didn't. But the club have spent money in this window and we have broken our transfer record twice with Fernandes and Tonali, two very good, experienced Premier League players. Now, we have also offloaded our captain, Romero, and it was time for him to go because De Zerbi right now needs players that want to be there and he wanted out. Now, Spence and now Vicario is about to leave, but it is a new era at Tottenham and it does feel exciting under new boss Roberto De Zerbi. And of course, he is trying to build something new at Tottenham and we owe a lot to him for keeping us in the Premier League. Now, we've brought in 6 Premier League players so far in this transfer window. There's a very common theme. They all have Premier League experience. And a shout out to Senesi and Van Hecke, ball playing centre-backs, really decent signings. But we do need more in this transfer window, particularly if Spurs want to be going for a European spot at the end of the 26-27 campaign rather than fighting against relegation. We've also had so many injury problems in the last 2 seasons, so the injury record needs to improve. We will hopefully see Mohamed Kudus, Dejan Kulusevski and Javi Simons back during the season at some point. But we do need attacking players. We do need to create more in games and certainly put the ball in the net. Dominic Solanke and Richarlison have had so many injury issues in the last couple of seasons. I really do trust Roberto De Zerbi and feel very optimistic, but those attacking players are absolutely key.
Thank you to Chris. He is all in on the Roberto De Zerbi train. In De Zerbi we trust. They start at Brentford at the weekend, and well, it's interesting that he's been so positive because it has been obviously so negative for Spurs over time. And one of the criticisms was, where's all this money? Why aren't we spending money? And all of a sudden you think, well, how is it being spent now? Where was it? And now they're spending it. Is this just all of a sudden they've found it down the back of a sofa, or they've just...
I'd love to go for a look down the back of that sofa. I think some people are suggesting, though, that they've spent an awful lot of money weakening that side. I don't know.
Well, there has been important outs as much as there has been in, and you're looking into defence, and that has been a huge wholesale change.
Yeah, and I think some of that is attitudinal as well. I think there were concerns, obviously, with Christian Romero's, I know he's a World Cup winner and a World Cup finalist as well as winning it. But sometimes it could show some very, very impressive footballing and defensive skills, and then sometimes just kicking people. And it just wasn't I mean, it was almost inevitable that he was going to go to Atletico Madrid, right? I mean, for various reasons. It's virtually Argentina in the Spanish capital.
They play in stripes as well, so that helps.
Yeah, and he suits Diego Simeone quite well, doesn't he? But other players that have been moved out, I think De Zerbi showed his hand early with what he was doing from a defensive point of view with the signings they made. Senesi coming in, Paul Van Hecke coming in. That was required. I think the midfield area needed freshening up. So Tonali and Fernandes, interesting signings from that point of view, but we're still looking. There's still a reliance, isn't it, on the players that have been there, coming back from injury, or players that, when it comes to being up top.
Well, I was just some of the players, I mean, last season and even before that, Thomas Frank kept referring to, these are the players we don't have at the moment, that who are part of the Tottenham squad but were unavailable due to injuries. And I think they spent a whole season just thinking, when James Maddison comes back, we'll be okay.
It's such a difficult one when everyone knows that you need them. And you've got these players coming out, and it was that catch-22 to say, do we sign them? And if we sign them, then they won't play in 6 weeks, but the players might not come in back in 6 weeks. So those question marks will still remain. You're looking at, I've written out the squad in formation. Goalkeeper, Kinski's played 7 Premier League games. Yeah. Very talented keeper, did brilliantly last season to bounce back to what happened to him in such dramatic fashion against Atleti, and then play such an integral part of the securing the Premier League spot at the end of the season. But Vicario's on his way out to Juventus. He's already landed and is having his medical there, so that's one going on. You feel that Dubravka as the backup goalkeeper, Austin's been around for years at Spurs, but there is a potential in terms of a hole there. They've only got one right back, arguably, and then you've got a whole host of players at centre forward and in attacking midfield, including Solanke and Richarlison, where for each and all of their own individual reasons, you can put question marks. Now, I think in there, in between it all, you've got 7 central midfielders, of which I can work out Bentancur, Gray, who can, yes, play other places, Bergvall, Matassar, Tonali, Fernandes and Gallagher. Something's got to give there, surely.
Well, Bergvall's been linked with moves away, and but I'm surprised clubs haven't gone in for him because he's young, he's got experience, he's probably got some learning still to be done, but I can't imagine he'd want to play second fiddle as well at this stage of his career.
Well, you could play seventh fiddle.
Yeah, well,
at this point.
Yeah. The Gallagher signing was a strange one anyway, wasn't it? When they brought him in,
I think they needed the energy. They needed
did he
something.
Bring the energy though?
I think he got lost in the forlornness of what was there in their season at the time. So, you're looking in there, and I mean, yes, they've spent money, but if they really want to go out and make a big signing, it's the centre forward spot that you're feeling. And can Tottenham go and do that? Have they got the resources, do you feel?
I don't know. One more rifle down that side of that settee, and who knows?
A few more, coins that's down there. I don't.
But that's your expensive position, though, isn't it? That's the player that costs you a lot of money.
Oh, they spent a lot of money on Xavi Simons.
Yes,
and that was one that's obviously another injury, which was a horrible one to witness. But again, just adds to this problem that Spurs has. So, all in all, you feel, yes, we've had a very positive voice note there. There's got to be more work to be done for Tottenham and De Zerbi, hasn't there?
And as you say, probably getting out as well. He's clearing players out, but he's probably got to clear that midfield room out as well, because you're going to be dealing with a group of people who are not satisfied and are going to be sitting on the sidelines twiddling their thumbs. So it's also going to be a different style of football to what Thomas Frank had under Roberto De Zerbi. We know that it's going to be sort of more intricate type of passing, and he's going to try and work it in a different way. Thomas had a certain way of going about his football, so it'll be really interesting to see. Ange Postecoglou started his Spurs career at Brentford, and it was a 2-2 draw. And I'm going to predict that it wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw at the weekend, because I think that's just what we can expect.
Goals at the weekend in the opening weekend of the Premier League season. Thanks to Emma and Phil, and that's it for tonight. But we have that